Good afternoon. Bonjour tout le monde. My colleague, Secretary of State Sarai, and I would like to provide you with an update on the unfolding humanitarian crisis in Nepal and China. Moments ago, I spoke with Nepal's ambassador to Canada, who updated me with the following information. 579 bodies have been recovered so far, and another 1,924 people are missing. 517 of those individuals are foreign nationals. A catastrophic flash flood and mudslides along the Nepal-China border have left hundreds of people dead and more than 1,000 people missing. Nepal is facing a devastating humanitarian emergency with catastrophic damage. Families and homes are destroyed. Mudslides have wiped away villages and infrastructure, including bridges. Communities have been cut off from essential services, including telecommunications. In terms of the update, as of today, we are aware of 32 Canadians, some of whom are permanent residents, whose whereabouts have not yet been confirmed. We have a 24-hour Emergency Watch Response Center based in Ottawa that is responding to calls. And we encourage everyone with family members in the region to contact the Emergency Watch Response Center at 613-996-8885. That's 613-996-8885. À ce jour, nous savons qu'environ 32 citoyens canadiens et résidents permanents se trouvent dans la région, mais nous n'avons pas encore pu confirmer où ils se trouvent. Nous avons un centre de surveillance et d'intervention d'urgence à Ottawa qui est accessible 24 heures sur 24 et qui répond aux appels. Donc, we know that this is a rapidly evolving situation. These numbers that I've provided will likely change given that more rain is expected. Water levels and volumes are expected to rise, and Canadians in the region should monitor the situation closely and follow the advice of local authorities. On prévoit encore de la pluie et les niveaux et débits d'eau devraient continuer de varier. Les Canadiens doivent suivre la situation de près et respecter les consignes des autorités locales. Our thoughts are with the people of Nepal and China and with families there who are also waiting and worrying about their loved ones. I want to extend my thanks to the Nepali and Chinese officials for their ongoing search and rescue efforts and for the assistance that they are providing to Canadians and to all those affected by this absolutely devastating and tragic event. It is in this context that our government is announcing urgent humanitarian aid, and I will turn it over to my colleague, Secretary of State Randeep Sarai, to provide more details of this humanitarian aid and our work with international agencies with regards to this aid. Randeep, over to you.
Thank you, Anita. Let me start by saying that my heart is with all those impacted by these absolutely horrific crises. For families who've lost loved ones, their homes, or their livelihoods, and those who are still searching for answers, these are frightening and uncertain days. Et mesure que l'ampleur des dégâts se précise, les boissons immédiates sont immenses. Initial estimates are that approximately 100,000 people are in need of urgent humanitarian assistance. People need food, clean water, shelter, healthcare, and sanitation, and they need that help quickly. That's why today we are announcing that Canada is providing $5 million in humanitarian assistance to support emergency relief efforts in Nepal. The funding will help trusted humanitarian partners on the ground, such as the Red Cross, Canadian NGOs, and UN organizations deliver life-saving assistance to those who need it most. We have also offered to deploy relief supplies from our emergency stockpiles by the Canadian Red Cross should they be requested. In addition to this new announcement, joint pool funds that Canada regularly contributes to have been activated. This includes a drawdown of $100 million from the International Federation of Red Cross Disaster Response Emergency Fund to the Nepal Red Cross, and $2 million from the UN Central Emergency Response Fund to support immediate life-saving assistance. Les opérations de recherche, de sauvetage et de récupération sont toujours en cours. We remain in close contact with our partners on the ground to assess how Canada can best support. Our focus remains on the people who have been affected and on helping families get through what I can only imagine to be a living nightmare. To everyone who has lost a loved one, a home, or a livelihood, Canada stands with you in this difficult time. Thank you. Merci.
Merci. Thank you. We'll now go to the question period. If you're attending on Zoom, please use the raise hand function at this moment in order to be in the queue to ask a question. Si vous êtes en ligne, veuillez lever votre main
Could you
maintenant.
speak up, please? Excuse me, could you please speak up?
Oui, est-ce que vous nous entendez bien, Madame la Ministre?
Oui, mais c'est très doux. Est-ce que vous pouvez peut-être augmenter votre volume?
Oui, je vais demander à Jacques, le technicien, si votre volume peut être augmenté. Sinon, ça pourrait être peut-être sur votre propre appareil. Enfin, on va essayer de procéder comme ça et vous nous direz si jamais vous avez de la difficulté à entendre les questions.
Ça marche. J'ai essayé ici à cette côté de la ligne.
Merci. So I see a few hands. We'll now first go to Darren Major, CBC. Please unmute yourself and go ahead. We don't hear you, Darren.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. Okay, sorry. I was just hoping to ask Minister Anand about the situation with the U.S. Minister, what effect will the trade war have on Canada's defense procurement decisions going forward?
So as you must know, we have multiple defense procurements underway. We are investing $80 billion in the Canadian Armed Forces, and we've announced a number of defense procurements to date, with more work being done by the Defense Procurement Agency, Minister McGuinty, and the team, including his Secretary of State, Stephen Fuhr. I will say that on trade, Minister LeBlanc and Madame Charette continue to do the work necessary to defend the interests of this country. And on a number of other areas, we continue to work constructively. And I will leave it to Minister McGuinty to speak to defense procurement per se, but last week I was in the United States meeting with Secretary Rubio, and we had a productive exchange about a number of issues that we are continuing to work on together, including Arctic security. At the same time, Canada is diversifying our relationships around the world, and that will include in terms of various procurements that we have and are undertaking. I refer you, for example, to the announcement relating to submarines and the work we'll be doing with TKMS. Having said that, the foreign affairs work that I will specifically be doing will involve a number of jurisdictions around the world. Next week, I'll be traveling to Ireland. I have been invited as Canada's foreign minister to attend a meeting of the Foreign Affairs Council of the European Union, the only non-European foreign minister to be invited, and I look forward to participating in that meeting. And so our work relating to diversification across the board continues. As you're aware, we have signed over 20 security, economic, and defense agreements over the past year across 5 continents. The economic news that we received today relating to growth in the Canadian economy is positive. And so, as you can see from this answer, there are multiple things happening at the same time, and we'll continue to build Canada strong by diversifying the Canadian economy. Thank you.
Follow up, Darren?
Just as a follow-up, yeah. Do you think this is the lowest point so far in the relationship between Canada and the U.S.?
Sorry, your voice is a little muffly. What was the question?
I'll rephrase the question. Maybe, Darren, because your sound is not so great. The question was, do you consider this is the lowest point in history in regards to the relations of United States and Canada?
I would say that this is a challenging moment, and we need to continue to defend Canadian interests, Canadian sovereignty, as the Prime Minister laid out in his address. At the same time, we need to do what is in our own domestic interests, and that means to build relationships around the world, which is exactly what we are doing. And so, again, we have a trade team in Minister LeBlanc and Janice Charette, and obviously Ambassador Wiseman, and of course the Prime Minister. We have other work to do around the world to ensure that we are growing a robust Canadian economy. And at the same time, I will continue to work with my counterpart in the United States on bilateral issues as is necessary, whether it's Arctic security, whether it is regional security in Haiti, whether it is on cyber scam centers. Those are issues that we need to address. And at the same time, we need to protect Canada's economic sovereignty. And that's exactly what Minister LeBlanc and Chief Negotiator Janice Charette are doing.
Next up, Nathaniel Dove, Global News.
Hello, Minister Anand. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you for speaking to us today. I'm curious, you say you heard from 32 Canadians. How many Canadians did Global Affairs have registered in the country and region ahead of the horrendous floods?
Well, let me just break it down a little bit. We know that there are more Canadians that are in the region than calls that we are receiving. And in particular, we have received 129 calls. That number is somewhat ambiguous, though, because they do include repeat callers. In the last 24 hours, the number of Canadians in terms of volume of calls coming in is increasing, but that is incrementally the case. And so in terms of registered Canadians, I'm just going to get that number for you exactly, and I will provide it to you. In particular, it's 866 Canadians have registered with us in Nepal, and over 10,000 Canadians have registered with us in China.
Thank you. And then just for my follow-up, you mentioned predictions that or expectations the water will rise. Do we have an idea as to how high this could rise with the rain and further flooding you mentioned?
It's a good question. It's not one that I have a precise answer to. We know that further flooding is a possibility given the glacier that has collapsed. That's the reason for the original flood. But given that more rain is expected, the water volume is believed to be nearing dangerous levels. There are some reports now that there has been further collapses of infrastructure owing to that greater volume in water. But given the terrain, it is very difficult to specifically state how much there will be devastation given this rising water volume. So bottom line, it's unclear at this time, but also bottom line, there is an expectation that more rain could cause further damage, which is already catastrophic.
Thank you.
Merci. On va passer en français avec Aimé Lemieux, Radio-Canada.
Oui, bonjour. Ma question est pour la ministre Anand. Vous m'entendez bien?
Oui, bien sûr.
Parfait. Écoutez, je voulais savoir par rapport aux 32 Canadiens qui manquent à l'appel, est-ce que vous les avez identifiés précisément? Est-ce que vous savez ce sont qui ces 32 Canadiens, où ils habitent au Canada?
À ce moment-là, nous sommes en contact avec les autorités locales, mais nous n'avons pas l'information très, très précise, mais ce n'est pas l'information que nous pouvons partager ici en public. On va continuer d'être en contact avec leurs familles, leurs relatifs, leur communauté, parce que c'est l'information très sensible. Donc, nous avons les noms. Mais on cherche d'autres informations maintenant et on va continuer d'offrir les mises à jour quand nous allons avoir l'autre information.
Parfait. Une deuxième question, si possible. Il y a des familles qui sont donc sans nouvelles de leurs proches qui vous demandent d'interpeller des compagnies comme Apple, par exemple, pour que les informations de localisation puissent être transmises et qu'on puisse finalement localiser plus facilement les gens, les 30 Canadiens, 32 Canadiens qui manquent à l'appel. Est-ce que c'est quelque chose que vous allez faire?
Bien sûr. Peut-être je pourrais expliquer qu'est-ce que nos officiaux font sur le terrain maintenant. Nous, comme j'ai dit, nous avons 5 fonctionnaires là sur le terrain avec une autre honorary consul. Et l'équipe là sur le terrain parle avec les entreprises qui font des expéditions comme ça. Ils rencontrent avec les officiaux dans le gouvernement et ils visitent les sites où on peut penser les gens vont être si ils vont être en sécurité. Donc, il y a une all hands on deck approche maintenant, mais peut-être je pourrais spécifier une chose. Il n'y a pas de communication là sur le terrain. Et donc, les modalités pour les communications sont très, très difficiles. Donc, c'est nécessaire d'être sur le terrain. C'est nécessaire pour nos fonctionnaires de travailler avec les autorités locales pour obtenir l'information nécessaire. Et donc, on va rester en contact avec les familles les 32 Canadiens et résidents permanents pour expliquer l'information que nous continuons de recevoir. Mais c'est très, très difficile. C'est une situation catastrophe sur le terrain et c'est très difficile d'obtenir l'information, mais on va continuer d'essayer d'être là pour les Canadiens, Canadiennes sur le terrain.
Merci. We'll now go to Alessia Pasafiume, the Canadian Press. You can unmute yourself.
Hi, Minister. Have the 5 consular officials your department said yesterday would be deployed arrived, and are there plans to send any more to the region?
Yes, they have arrived. And as I said, there's an honorary consul that has been in place for years. And the role of the honorary consul, in fact, is to ensure that Canada has a network in place that we can draw upon in times of crisis or in times where we want to help. And so the 5 consular officials are there on the ground. They're working with the honorary consul. They're very much in touch with officials from the government, with the trekking and hiking companies, and with the organizations, some of whom Secretary Sarai mentioned, in order to ensure that Canadian aid is dispersed and in order to ensure that we are actually getting any information necessary about these 32 individuals that we can share with their families. And finally, I will say, yes, we are ready to send more officials as required. So once we ensure that we have the systems in place, that we're receiving information as necessary, should those consular officials indicate the need for greater support, we will, of course, send further support. I want to underline that Global Affairs Canada has experience in crisis situations. We have experience deploying our officials. We have experience in logistics and ensuring that we are providing information, we are offering support. And when I spoke with the ambassador from Nepal this morning, he offered thanks to Canada for continually being one of the countries that Nepal can depend on for all types of support, including back in 2015 when they needed it. Again, Canada came forward, and this is why Secretary Sarai and I are so much engaged on this file. We see this as a humanitarian responsibility to Canadians as well as to the communities who are suffering given this absolute unprecedented tragedy.
And I'm also curious if you've spoken to any allies about voicing their support for Canadian sovereignty given this escalating trade war with the US and attempts to assert naming rights over Canadian waters.
So let me begin by saying that I'm speaking to you from Oakville, Ontario, which sits on the shores of beautiful Lake Ontario. And this morning, as I was walking my dogs, I reflected on the importance of Lake Ontario over hundreds and hundreds of years to communities across this country, including all of communities that sit on the shores of this beautiful and important body of water. In terms of the officials from other countries that I'm in touch with, of course, we have very close relationships. Many have reached out to me in the past number of weeks, looking forward to my attending the Foreign Affairs Council of the European Union next week in Ireland, and also ensuring that they know that they are here for us. I also wanted to specify that these relationships are important in crisis situations, like we are seeing in Nepal as well. In fact, our Five Eyes partners, the UK, Australia, and the United States, are all assisting each other, including Canada, to triage lists for persons who are unaccounted for and to lend a helping hand whenever is necessary.
Thank you. We'll now go to Temer Durrani, the Globe and Mail. Go ahead.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hi. Okay. Minister Anand, you've already sort of answered most of my questions. I'm going to start actually with this question then. Have any Canadians been unfortunately confirmed to have been part of the 579 people that you identified today who are deceased as a result of the catastrophe in Nepal?
we have not been able to reconcile our number, which is 32 Canadians, with the numbers that we've received from the Nepalese government. And so I provide you with the numbers that we are working with right now, which is 32 Canadians, and we will provide information when we receive it. But those numbers that I provided off the top were from the Nepalese government, did not take into account the information relating to Canadians. As I said, those Canadians are unaccounted for, but we have not confirmed any Canadian deaths.
Thank you, Minister. Just as a follow-up on that, I'm hoping for a little bit more. I mean, you've answered this question before with other reporters, but I'm just hoping a little bit more color for people who may be curious exactly what Canada is doing there for these 32 people with the search and rescue operations there. Could you give us a little bit of detail about that, how Canada is helping with that?
Okay, first of all, I want to reiterate the point that I made in the last answer, which is we have no notifications of Canadians within the numbers of confirmed deaths that have been provided by the Nepalese government. Those 32 Canadians are unaccounted for, but no Canadian deaths have been confirmed. In terms of the question relating to search and rescue, the Nepalese government has indicated that it has the purview and ability to undertake the search and rescue. They are asking for additional humanitarian aid, and that is the aid that we are providing today that Secretary Sarai announced just a moment ago. $5 million, which will be deployed to the Red Cross and the United Nations in conjunction with a network of approximately 10 Canadian NGOs so that they can provide the necessities on the ground that would be needed, like blankets, like hygiene kits. And we have stockpiles of supplies, in particular in Dubai. And those stockpiles contain the items I just mentioned and others. Buckets, for example, blankets, and other utensils that might be needed in these crisis situations. So we're really pulling on a number of different capacities. Our work internationally with international organizations through the Red Cross and the United Nations, our work with Five Eyes to find out more information about Canadians, our work with Canadian NGOs, whom I'd like to thank for their incredible work, so that we are providing the necessities of life, so that we are finding out information about those 32 Canadians, and so that we are also keeping in touch with Canadians, which is the reason I wanted to make sure that Secretary Sarai and I were speaking with you today.
Merci à tous. Thank you all. I don't see any more questions in the queue, so that puts an end to this press conference. Merci beaucoup, Madame la Ministre. Thank you all.
Thank you. We will share more information as it becomes available, and we will continue to work with all actors to confirm the status of missing Canadians, and we will be ready to support in any way for those Canadians and for their families. Merci beaucoup.
Merci. Bonne fin de semaine. Au revoir.